aspirants, welcome to Ekam IAS current affairs session. Today we are going to discuss about solar energy initiatives of the Government of India and related facts. Before we begin the session, let us first know what is the relevance of this topic from the perspective of UPSC. This solar energy and solar energy initiatives are important from the GS paper 3, that is General Studies paper 3. Energy is a topic in GS paper 3. Also environment, economy portions of GS paper 3. Also the questions will come from prelims as well. So let us begin the session. First of all, we will be discussing the importance of solar energy. So one is availability. In case of India, solar energy is abundantly available because India is a tropical country. The availability of solar energy is very high. So that is one reason. And second is international commitments, particularly SDG, Sustainable Development Goal commitments of India. So that in that case also solar energy becomes important. And greening the economy, that is moving towards non-fossil fuel based economy. Also when it comes to climate change, importance of this non-fossil fuel becomes important. So these are the importance of solar energy. One is availability, then international commitments, then greening the economy, and our climate change issues. So greenhouse gas emissions, etc. Because the fossil fuel based source of energy is emitting greenhouse gases, but solar energy is a clean form of energy. So solar energy is good for the climate and good for the environment. So that is why India is trying to switch towards more non-fossil fuel based energies. Now we will study the important terms related to solar energy that are frequently in news. And one term is solar module. Basically it is a group of solar cells. That is given in this figure. That is, it is basically a group of solar cells. Solar cell is like a human cell. It is the basic unit of the system, and when we combine the cells together we get what we call solar module. It is also called photovoltaic or solar panel. It is also called solar panel. Now we are going to discuss about the grid connected. So what is a grid? Grid is actually a central electricity power supply system. It is actually, for example, in the case of Indian states, it's actually an electricity distribution company. Or there is that is what we call grid, a company that provides electricity to the consumers, that are citizens. So this is what is called a grid. So what is a grid connected? Grid connected system means residential people or residential consumers will also be producing electricity. For example, in the form of solar energy, through solar energy panels. So they will be producing some electricity. So this electricity will also be connected to this grid. This is what we call grid connected solar system. Grid connected system. So in this figure you can see this is a home, and with the help of these solar panels they are producing energy. And with this net meter, there is a net meter that we will discuss later. And through this net meter, the same energy they produce is also connected to this grid, that is central power supply system. This is what we call grid connected system. So what is the purpose for connecting to the grid? Because one is regularly we get electricity from the grid, that is one reason. And if one person is producing an electricity, they are producing solar powered electricity, so they can actually export. If they have excess energy, excess production of electricity, they can export that to the grid and they can earn revenue, they can make money. So in this context we will be discussing about net meter. Here we have seen that there is a net meter attached between the residential house and the grid, that is local grid or central grid. So what is a net meter? This you can see, it is like a meter, regular meter that are planted or placed in a house to monitor the electricity. So basically this is like a meter, this is actually like a meter, and this device will measure both the energy consumed by the residential consumers plus the energy exported by them. That means if they are producing more energy, if they are exporting that to the grid, that will also be measured. So this net meter acts as a mechanism by which the entire transaction, energy transaction can be calculated. So after this calculation, if they are producing excess energy, they will get revenue from the, or they will get money from the electricity grid, because this excess energy will be exported to the grid. And if they are not producing enough energy, that means that deficiency in energy, the deficiency will be covered through the grid, because the grid is what provides electricity regularly, generally, to people. So they will cover the deficiency. So that means that you have to pay to the grid. So this is how net metering works. It is actually, the word net means that this differences will be calculated. That is why we call net metering. It is like a meter only, like a regular meter only. So this picture provides the example of net meter. And now we will be discussing another term that was in the news, that is polysilicon. So you might think that this is something related to silicon. Yes, of course it is something related to silicon. The silicon term is there. So it is a high purity form of silicon. This is a highly pure form of silicon. That is what is called polysilicon. So why this is important? This is an essential raw material for the production of solar panels. Essential, that is, it is a must. Without this, solar panels cannot be produced, cannot be made. So this is an essential raw material for the production of photovoltaic panels or solar panels. Okay, you can see that this is polysilicon. This will be melted and converted to this thing. This is ingots, and later this will be converted to wafers, and later that thing will be converted to solar cells, and later, and final product is that PV module, that is photovoltaic module or solar panel. So this you can see. So that is the importance of polysilicon. Polysilicon is the essential raw material for the production of solar panels. So in the news you will see polysilicon wafers, ingots, etc. All these terms are related to this production, this raw material only. So the different process or different steps in the production of this solar panel. By keeping the related terms in mind, we will be discussing the major technologies involved in the solar energy production. There are mainly two technologies involved in the production of solar energy. That is, there is sun in the higher above, and how are we converting that energy, the energy of sun, to the electricity that we use, that we daily use. So that is the process here. So what technology are we using for this conversion? So that is one technology, is photovoltaic technology. You can see from the figure that this is sun, and the sun is sending its solar energy to the solar panel. That energy will be received on this solar panel, and there are solar cells. Solar cells are there. It is like human cells. That is the basic unit of this electricity production. These solar cells are there. So these solar cells, with the help of these solar cells, this solar energy will be converted to electricity. That is, first there will be production of electrical charges, and later that will be converted into moving electric currents. That is the process that will be happening on this solar panels, solar cells. So after this energy, we will store or will directly use. This is the first technology, that is photovoltaic technology. Okay, you can see from the figure that it is the very common way of production of solar energy that we usually see around in India. And the second production method is concentrating solar thermal power. That is concentrated solar thermal power technology. That is the second. So you can see from this name that it is a thermal, something related with the heat. So what happens here is that there is sun, this is sun, and the sun will be sending its solar energy, and on the ground there will be mirrors, and these mirrors will reflect this energy, this solar energy, to a receiver. This is what we call receiver. Okay, there will be receivers, and these mirrors will reflect that energy to receivers, and when they reach the receiver, that will be converted later into heat, and this solar energy will be converted to heat by the in the receiver. That is what here happens, and this heat energy will be later converted to electricity. So this is how concentrating solar thermal power technology works. Here you can see these are all mirrors. And this is the receiver. So these mirrors are placed here, and these mirrors will reflect this energy, solar energy, to this receiver. So government's target. So this is our current government's target, that is 500 gigawatt of energy production from non-fossil sources by 2030. That means non-fossil fuels means clean energy. Basically it is about clean energy or green energy, environmentally friendly energy. So that includes solar, primarily solar, wind, tidal, etc. Tidal sources. So all these sources, through these renewable energy sources, the government will be producing around 500 gigawatt of energy by 2030. This is the government's target. Okay, 1 gigawatt means 1000 megawatt. 1000 megawatt equal to 1 gigawatt. Now we'll be discussing about the government initiative. Till now we have discussed about the terms related to solar energy and the technologies involved in the production of solar energy. Now we will be discussing, moving forward, to the government's major government initiatives related to solar energy. So when it comes to government initiatives, you have to note that the nodal ministry when it comes to all new and renewable energy sources, basically renewable energy sources, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is the nodal ministry for all matters related to renewable energy sources. That includes solar energy. So almost all the solar schemes, solar related schemes will come under the purview of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So these all these schemes that we discuss is being implemented by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. The first scheme that we are going to discuss is solar park scheme, that is development of solar parks and ultra mega solar power projects. It is a scheme. Basically it is a solar park scheme, solar parks. So it was launched in 2014 and this will continue till 2024. That is 2024, till this will be continued. And the government's target is 40 gigawatt power projects. So why the government introduced this solar park scheme? There are some reasons why the government introduced it. One reason is high cost of individual power projects. One is firstly, this power plant producers, that is solar power plant developers, they have to produce it on an individual basis. So that will cost much more. And secondly, there should be transmission. So when we are producing in different areas, small production, this transmission of this electricity to a central grid or for the consumers will become very difficult. So there will be high transmission losses when there are multiple small production of solar power. That is, transmission losses will be there. Third reason is getting environmental and other clearances. All sort of government clearances will be very difficult for individual solar developers. So these are the reasons. So overall the cost of solar power will go up. The cost will go up. So this is why government introduced such a scheme. So what happens in case of solar park scheme is that there will be a piece of land. This is a solar park. Like a park, like a regular normal park, it is a solar park. So there will be a piece of land in which all the necessary infrastructure will be there for the setup of solar power plants. That is, transmission infrastructure will be there, road connections will be there, communications will be there. So it will be like a self-reliant institution, self-reliant ecosystem for the production of solar energy. And also all necessary clearances, all necessary government clearances will be already inbuilt in the system. That means this solar park will have already given all the necessary clearances. So anyone setting up a power plant here will not have to go to the government. So basically any person can come here and set up his power plant here. So everything will be taken care of. That is the main advantage of solar parks. The second scheme is government producer scheme for production of 12 gigawatt of solar energy by 2022-2023. Under this scheme, it is a government producer. You can see it is a government. So something related to government will be there. Basically, government is the end user. Government is the producer and government is the end user. Government companies like PSUs will produce. All other government organizations will be setting up solar power plants and they will be producing energy. And this energy will be entirely used for government purpose. It will be entirely used for government only. So that is what we call government producer scheme. So under this scheme, 12 gigawatt is the production target for the government. As I have already said, all these schemes are implemented by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. That is the nodal ministry for all matters related with the renewable energy in India. And then comes the grid connected solar rooftop program. So from the title itself you can understand it is something related to rooftop, solar rooftop. So basically it is for residential electricity consumer. Basically it is for people, regular people. So there will be houses, and if this is a house, the solar panel will be set up on the rooftop of the house. It will be set up here. So then this energy will be converted. This solar energy will be converted to electricity, and there will be net meter as we have already discussed, and excess energy will be exported to the central grid. So this is the structure. And under this scheme, 40 gigawatt is the production target by 2026. Under this program, there are two components. One is component A. Component A is there, under which government will be giving subsidy. The government is giving it a fancy term, that is central financial assistance. It is also called, it is actually subsidy. Central financial assistance. Central financial assistance or subsidy will be given to residential electricity consumer. That is households, regular people, they will be giving subsidy. That is component A. Under component B, the government will be giving incentives to distribution companies. That is, distribution companies is also called a DISCOMs, distribution company. Government will be providing incentives. Basically, distribution companies means there will be production of electricity. Some company will be producing electricity, and this electricity will be distributed by some company to the people, to the consumers. That company distributing electricity is called a distribution company or DISCOM. So these three programs that we have discussed, that is solar park, government producer scheme, and the grid connected rooftop programs. All these are grid connected programs. That means the energy produced, the electricity produced will be fed into the grid, central grid, that will be connected to the grid, that is government grid. So now we will be discussing non-grid connected, that we call off-grid connection. That is solar off-grid. So under this there is a significant scheme, one important scheme, that is called PM Kusum. That is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uttam Mahabhiyan. This is the full form of the scheme, and this is called PM Kusum. This is frequently in news, so this is very important for prelims. You can see from the figure, it is something related to agriculture, and there is solar panel. This is a pump. This is an agriculture pump. So from this picture itself, we can get some idea about this scheme. So there is Kisan is given this term. So it is something related to agriculture sector. So this scheme is for farmers. So what are the aims of this scheme? One is, if it is related to farming, the main aim will be why the electricity used in farming, in the agriculture. The main thing is for pump. Electricity pumps will be there. That is for irrigation purpose. Agricultural pumps are used for the distribution of water. So basically irrigation purpose. So this scheme is something related to irrigation. Secondly, government is providing lot of power subsidy for the agriculture sector, particularly for running agricultural pumps. This scheme is also aiming at reducing the power subsidy. If the government is able to transform the agriculture sector into a solar sector, that is solarization of agriculture happens, the power subsidy the government gives will be reduced. The government no longer would have to give lot of subsidy to the agriculture sector. So that will be a fiscal boost to the government. Third thing is decarbonization of the agriculture sector. That is the carbon footprint. That is the emission of greenhouse gases. So this reduction will also happen if we transform from the regular thermal electricity or coal powered electricity to solar electricity, solar power. So these are the main aims why the government introduced PM Kusum. This is for the agriculture sector of India, and government will be providing lot of incentives to farmers under this scheme. And there are three components for this scheme. These three components are really important. One is component A. That component says that government has a plan of setting up of 10 gigawatt of solar power plants in the agriculture sector. Solar plants in the agriculture sector. That is the first component. 10 gigawatt means 10,000 megawatt. And second component, component B is related to solar pumps. You can see here there is a panel. So this setting up of this panel is the first, that is solar power plants is the first component. Second is related to solar pumps, that is this agricultural pumps. So production of standalone solar powered agricultural pumps, that is the second aim. Second component, that is component B. Around 20 lakh. Government is planning to install 20 lakh solar pumps. That is, these pumps will be standalone. That means the electricity that is being used for these pumps will be produced from the source itself. It will have no connection with the grid. That is what we call standalone. The electricity produced in the field itself. So this is standalone. Then third, C. That is the component C is related to, there are already the people are running agriculture pumps. So there are already pumps. So how are they using the pumps? They are using the pumps with the electricity produced from the grids. So the grid is supplying electricity to the existing pumps. So the government's aim is to convert this thing into solar pumps. That is, solarization is the third component. Solarization of the existing grid connected agricultural pumps is the third aim. So in this third measure, government is trying to convert 15 lakh of already existing grid connected agriculture pumps into solar powered pumps. So these are the three main components of PM Kusum scheme. So with this, major portion of this session is over, and now we will be discussing some important challenges faced by the solar power sector. One is land acquisition. Land acquisition is a major challenge. That is, for the production of 1 megawatt of solar energy, at least 4 acres of land. 4 acres of land is required. So this is a huge amount of land. So for just production of 1 megawatt. So that is a major challenge. Land acquisition becomes a major issue. And second issue is high customs duty. That is, government has introduced customs duty on import of solar components, particularly from China. For example, polysilicon components or polysilicon wafers from China. That is as I have already discussed, it is an essential component for the production of solar panels. So the government has introduced high customs duty on that, because to make the locally produced solar components competitive, because Chinese components are very cost effective, they are very cheap. So that is why there is a high customs duty. So this is also a problem for the solar energy sector. And third is intermittent source of energy. This is another point, because you can't use the solar energy all the time 24/7, because only 12 hours you will get solar energy. So there will be many times in the year when you can't rely on solar energy. So basically solar energy is a intermittent source. That means it is not a permanent source. That source, it will be like this. This means there will be peaks, and there will be times when the solar energy won't be available. So that is why we need battery infrastructure, that is storage infrastructure. Without a proper, sophisticated, robust storage infrastructure, the solar energy will not be reliable. Solar energy can't be relied. So that is, we need a storage infrastructure. This is another challenge, because building storage infrastructure is a huge, difficult task. It's also a very big financial challenge. So that is the third challenge of solar energy sector. So with this, the session is over, and now we'll be going to dealing with a question. The question is, with reference to Pradhan Mantri Kisan, that is PM Kusum scheme, consider the following statements. It is launched by the Ministry of Finance, and it is aimed at decarbonizing India's industrial sector. Which of the above statements are correct? You can give the answer in the comment section, and for the answer and explanation, you can see the link of Telegram channel given in the description. With this, I conclude. Thank you.